Welcome to MojoPlays. Today, we're looking at the scariest and most horrifying monsters in the Witcher franchise. Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Rotfawn, The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. If you run into a marauding Rotfiend on its own, you probably won't come up against much opposition. The problem is that they're rarely alone. They hunt in large packs and they can easily overpower even a seasoned Witcher. And, oh yeah, they explode when they die. The lore behind these gameplay elements is also disturbing. Rotting horrors, they can be found anywhere with a plentiful supply of corpses, but not because they're decomposing corpses themselves. No, the real horror is that the corpses are what they feed on, and in the war-torn northern realms, they'll never go hungry. Zucco, The Witcher. Eating dead bodies is par for the course for monsters, but eating raw sewage is another matter entirely. The sewers on the continent are often inhabited by these gruesome water monsters, lurking there in search of the most disgusting food source known to man. They're also riddled with disease, making fighting them particularly difficult for anyone who isn't a Witcher themselves. An especially nasty one is fought as a boss in the very first game, discovered deep in the toxic underbelly of Vizima, and needs both Geralt and Triss to take it down. If its gaping maw wasn't threatening enough, they also have an arsenal of deadly tentacles to lash with. Leshen, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. These formidable creatures are thought by many of the continent's inhabitants to be spirits who protect the forest from harm, but this is not the whole truth. While the Leshen don't take kindly to humans venturing too far into their territory, which are large ancient forests, they aren't protective entities. They're often very aggressive, and even Geralt finds them a challenge. They appear from deep within the woods, identifiable from their large antlers and tall stature, and have a range of abilities they can use. These include summoning packs of wolves and murders of crows, as well as turning into crows themselves to quickly move around the area, all of which pose a threat to anyone unlucky enough to stray across their path.
Damn it.
Brux, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Blood and Wine. The release of The Witcher 3 was led by an exciting and detailed cinematic where Geralt hunts down and defeats an aggressive Brux, but to the disappointment of fans, there weren't any Brux in the main game at all. Luckily, there were a few encounters to be had during the final Blood and Wine DLC. They're particularly dangerous because of the ease with which they disguise themselves as humans, for the most part, and they're one of the few varieties of vampire which aren't affected by the sunlight. The Brux of Corvo Bianco is a nasty creature brave enough to choose to fight Geralt head-on, though this goes about as well as you'd expect. Wraith, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Lots of people were brought to the series for the first time with The Witcher 3, so for many, this early Witcher contract is the first encounter they ever had with a powerful Wraith. It's not the only Wraith you'll face during your adventures, but you certainly won't forget the Devil by the Well. These tormented souls are the remnants of girls who died tragically before their weddings, and as such appear in torn, white gowns. They only appear at midday in high temperatures, but don't think this will make them less creepy. Like all Wraiths, the Uridan sign is a necessity to make them vulnerable at all, otherwise you'll be easily outmatched. Even Geralt has painful memories of this phantom.
She's gone. For good.
Plague Maiden, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Grim. No, he lives. I would know if he died. But he fled and abandoned me.
Some of the rarest Wraiths in series lore, Plague Maidens, or Pesta, rarely manifest, only in times of extreme death and pestilence. They're a personification of disease itself, often surrounded by a bleak history of their own. The Plague Maiden of Fyke Island is the cursed ghost of a girl named Annabelle who was eaten alive by rats after drinking a potion which paralyzed her. Upon paralysis, the other villagers who fled the deadly rats thought she was dead and left her behind to be devoured. This hatred and anger caused her grisly transformation, and breaking her curse was not easy. Botulin, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Whatever we do, we gotta find the botchling first.
I'll show you where I buried her.
The Bloody Baron's questline is arguably the most memorable of all in The Witcher 3 thanks to its unique creature. Created when an unwanted fetus is discarded without being given a name or a proper burial, botchlings spend their time attacking and murdering pregnant women. They're very tricky for a Witcher to get rid of, either having to perform a ritual where the child is given a name and buried with respect, or having to fight and kill it. This is made even harder by it mutating into a terrifying opponent. If the ritual is successful, however, a botchling may be transformed into a lubberkin, a guardian spirit, though it still retains much of its disturbing appearance even then.
Lead me to those bound to you by blood.
Hein, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. One of the most insidious and malevolent creatures Geralt will ever battle is the Hein, which is encountered in Wild Hunt as the sinister force possessing and manipulating Jarl Udalryk. The Hein is a shadowy foe which latches onto guilt. The guiltier someone feels, the more susceptible they are to the Hein's influence, as it whispers into their ear to make them hurt themselves or those around them. To get rid of a Hein, it either has to be fought and killed in a prolonged and arduous battle, or it has to be tricked. Cerys accomplishes this by tricking Geralt into thinking he's just thrown a baby into a fire, only to reveal that the baby is actually unharmed, banishing the Hein. The Caretaker, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Hearts of Stone.
Damn.
During his time on the Von Everec estate, Geralt comes across this unique monster, a being the likes of which he has never seen before. Summoned to this plane by Olgierd von Everec dabbling with taboo powers, the Caretaker was intended as a companion for Olgierd's wife Iris, who would tend to the grounds of the estate and wait on her hand and foot. It was despised by Iris, but did its duty diligently, maintaining the flowers and murdering everybody who dared to intrude. Faceless and formidable, the Caretaker heals from every blow he deals Geralt with his enormous shovel. The Crones, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Never seek to cross us again.
We shall forgive you this transgression, for you've done well.
Deep in the marshes of Crookback Bog, the ladies of the wood lie in wait, desperate for offerings and sacrifices from the inhabitants of Velen. The Brux, the Weaves, and the Wispes are the most frightful creatures you'll ever see in The Witcher, each of them with their own unique and twisted gimmick. The Brux cooks with human flesh, the Weaves has additional sets of legs attached to her, and the Wispes carries reams of human limbs and ears pledged to the crones as offerings. First posing themselves as powerful protectors of the woods, their darkness soon became clear to Geralt, who was forced to deal with them.
You tried to kill her. Can't forgive you for that.
Waste of words.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.